got to be able to bring home the bacon, raise the bacon, cook the bacon, and pay to feed the bacon. That's what homesteading is about. Today, I want to have a very casual conversation about homesteading, what it entails, how to get started, how to make money doing it. I just want to talk about homesteading because back in the day, and maybe this is just me, but when somebody would mention homesteading to me, I'm thinking of people that don't like to shower, that go buying a cabin in the woods. They've got no power, they've got no water, and they're, rubbing mud on their armpits for deodorant. I don't know. That's the vision that I used to get. That is not the case. And nowadays, everybody is homesteading on all different kinds of scales because of the economy. Food is just hard to get and it's so expensive. Produce, I went a couple weeks ago to a grocery store. Legit, all the shelves were empty. All of them were empty except for one old bag of prepackaged salad. So it's making everybody rethink what they're using, how they're using it, rethinking their waste, and thinking of different ways to be self-sufficient. So I struggled with the idea of homesteading when I first started because I thought, I don't have a garden, so I couldn't be a homesteader. I have a big, beautiful home and 10 acres. I couldn't be a homesteader. I buy my deodorant, shampoo, and I love good perfume. So I couldn't be a homesteader. So that's my own struggle. So I'm going to talk about homesteading because I want people to know how to get started. And I'm a perfect example of you don't need to have it all. I am an unmarried woman living by myself on 10 acres. I do get a lot of help from my boyfriend whenever he's around. He's super helpful with the animals and stuff. But realistically, the responsibility of this place, these animals, and the homesteading end of things falls on me. And if I can do it by myself, I'm pretty sure that most of all of y'all out there have got a partner with you that probably lives with you, probably helps you pay the bills, probably helps with your chores, helps with some of the burden, some of the worry, and things like that. So I want to talk about homesteading. May or may not be of much value, but go grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's come back and chat. But before you go grab your cup of coffee, hello, I want to introduce myself. I am Diana. I am so excited to see your smiling face again, but if this is the first time I'm seeing it, don't forget to subscribe. Somewhere around here is a button, just bonk it, and don't forget to hit the little bell icon so that you don't miss any of the going-ons around the funny farm, or funny homestead, or funny whatever. It's funny. This channel's funny. So get your coffee and let's be funny together. Thank you. Blah, 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 blah. All right. Welcome back. I thought to talk about this because I did a little something. I got myself all the things for gardening. Made me realize I really am homesteading. So a little bit of a background on me. I sell nutritional supplements from my home. I work online on my phone, that kind of thing all the time. So that's where my income is generated for the most part. About exactly a year ago, I didn't like the prices of food going through the roof. I decided to become more self-sufficient. And the easiest way for me to do that is with animals because I've always had animals. But when I got involved in multi-level marketing, life got in the way and I got rid of most of my animals. But I still had all the feeders, the waters, pens, things like that. So that was an easy thing for me to start. I have since gotten rabbits because I love rabbit meat. When I was a kid, I grew up on rabbit. Before I bought the rabbits, we went to a health food market here and we got rabbit to see if I would still like it because I wasn't sure. I've had it as a kid, but I hadn't had it in years. I absolutely love it. So, and I breed Rex rabbits. You can see all kinds of rabbit videos on this channel. But I breed Rex because I'm dying to have a very soft throw blanket on the couch. You can't just homestead without making money. The world goes around with money. It just does. It makes the world go round. I can't go handing a rabbit to the power company. I can't hand them an 18 pack of eggs and hope that gets my power on for the month. It doesn't happen that way. So you still have got to have a source of revenue if you want to homestead. Part of being self-sufficient is making you money. You got to be able to bring home the bacon, raise the bacon, cook the bacon, and pay to feed the bacon. That's what homesteading is about. So with the rabbits, and one of the reasons my envelope is so full right now is that I raise the Rex rabbits, absolutely love them, and I advertise them for sale. So usually I sell the bunnies when they're small, so the cost to me is pretty minimal. And what doesn't sell ends up in my freezer. Now I'm kind of coming against, I'm not getting very many in my freezer. By the time it's time to process another batch, like right now, it's processing time. I only have 3 to process. So I'm gonna wait till next month so that hopefully I wanna process at least 5 to 10 when I do the processing. So right now I'm making bank off of bunny rabbits. So here's a tip I would say when you're thinking of animals to raise for homesteading. Make sure you get something that you can sell, because you can eat just about anything, but it has to be able to generate revenue too, so it's paying for itself. So the bunnies for me, I also picked a breed that is so sweet and soft and pretty, and I breed for pretty. I breed for colors, because the majority of the bunnies I sell go to pet homes. Well, pet homes, they want something soft, cute, and cuddly. So I could maybe get more meat if I got like a New Zealand or a California breed of rabbit, but I would completely get rid of my pet market, because nobody wants a bright white bunny rabbit with pink eyes as a pet around the house. They just don't. I mean, and if you raise those kind of bunnies, no offense meant at all, they're a great meat rabbit. Their bone to meat ratio is fantastic. They're bigger, but they're not as social and they're not as friendly. So I have often thought of changing my breeding around, so I ended up with more meat, but most of this money is bunnies. And let me tell you, this ain't all once. I mean, I've got a bunch of 20s. I've got 50s in here. Ooh, I got 100 in there. Let's see, in case you don't believe me, I don't count the money, because I just like to collect it, and then when I need it, I count it and put it in the bank. So I'm not the world's best at finances, but anyhow, so that is what I wanted to, this is kind of the conversation I want to have about homesteading, is help you think of what to raise that you like to eat and that's valuable to sell and that doesn't cost a lot to raise. Because I'm going to tell you one of my mistakes. Let's hit the mistake section. Hold on a second. So one of the biggest mistakes so far in my homesteading that I have made is my pigs. I love, love, love pigs. I've always loved pigs, and I've always raised meat pigs, like, you know, Yorkshire, Hamps, things like that, the big meat pig breeds. Well, I saw on Facebook 2 of the cutest spotted pigs. I'll put some pictures in here. They were the cutest babies. So my 12-year-old grandson and I, we went to Salem, Oregon to pick up these 2 Cooney pigs. Darling piglets. I still have Stella out there. Here's the thing. What people like about a homestead pig is that they're small. They can be fattened up on hay or grass if you've got pasture. And they're super cute and they're super friendly. So those are the benefits to a homesteading pasture-raised pig. There are some disadvantages to all that cuteness, because with all that cuteness means they grow really slow. It means that they're going to be around for about 1.5 years before butcher, which means you have them through the winter. Let me tell you something. It's not fun to have pigs during the winter. They have to have their tanks, they have to have the de-icer, and then a pig always has like, most of the time has like a spigot, and they push their nose on it and it fills a little dish with water. It's their automatic water. Well, you can keep the whole tank de-iced really easy, but then their little dish and the little spigot pusher thing, I'll put a picture in. Okay, so now you see what I'm talking about. That little dish and that little nose pusher thing, they freeze. So it's a pain in the butt in the winter to keep them doing right. Here's a tip. I think that the best animals to have are the ones easy to have through the winter. Or if you do large meat pigs, they go from start to finish in 4 to 6 months. So then when you butcher them, so the little Homestead pigs, they cost just about as much to butcher. It still costs me a couple $100 to have the butcher come over here and just kill them, gut them, do all that. And then you pay per pound to have them processed. I mean, unless you're doing your own thing, but I don't do my own thing with the large animals. I do the processing. That's another thing. I'm going to go all over during this conversation on homesteading, but that's another thing about the rabbits is that they're easy to process. So easy to process. My boyfriend takes care of the pulse and the head, and then I do all the rest of the butchering. So it works out really well. We kind of have a system for that, but that doesn't work with the pigs. So the little cooney pigs, on top of the fact they mature very slowly, they are considered a lard pig. So I ended up with so much fat from this bad boy to render, which is fine because that's another way of income is rendering the lard. But I'll tell you, even at selling a 12-ounce jar of lard for $12, you still aren't making back what you paid to butcher them. So you're making money, but you're not exactly making bank. I think that all I made from the lard, it wasn't even enough to pay for the $300 butcher bill. And I think that he ended up being about 150 pounds, I think. But I really only got about 85 pounds of meat off of him. So a cooney is kind of a designer pig. People love them. I paid $400 a pig, and then I paid $300 to butcher them. So I have $700 into a pig, and that doesn't even count the fact that I fed him for a year before he got butchered. So I would not recommend a homesteading pig just because people think it's a homestead pig, unless you have a ton of ground for them to graze on and all kinds of time. In my case, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so we have hellacious winters. I don't want to feed pigs through the winter. I want to get a piglet in the spring. I want to butcher it about 6 months later, and then I don't have to worry about anything in the winter. So that is something that I've learned with homesteading as far as when it comes to picking the meats and the animals that you're going to raise. I mean, if everybody wants to raise a pig, that's great, but just make sure you're raising a pig that's giving you a ton of meat. Here's another interesting thing. Well, I don't know if it's interesting or not, but there is my lard making video right here or above my head somewhere is my lard making video. But you can make lard from a non-lard pig. It just happens he had so much fat on him. I mean, like his pork chops literally are about the size of the palm of my hand, and they still have like an inch of fat on them. A pork chop is maybe 2 bites of this little cooney pig. So I haven't decided yet whether I am going to breed Stella and sell her babies, or if I'm just going to butcher Stella. But I definitely will be getting regular meat hogs, because the thing about a meat hog too is they produce so much meat. I don't need that much. So I can sell off half the pig, and that does help around the homestead, and it helps you generate revenue. So there's the pigs. That takes me to chickens. Oh my gosh. I thought that I was going to raise meat chickens this year. It was a disaster. You gotta watch the video. Again, it's up here somewhere about my disaster of processing chickens. I would never do it again. I don't want to process chickens. I don't want to pluck their feathers and they're a really gluttonous, odd chicken to raise. A lot of people do it, and that's great. And if you want to do your own butchering, go for it. But if you are not going to process your own chickens, then I don't think chickens are very feasible. Another problem I have with raising chickens for me is I only like thighs and legs. You definitely want to get yourself some laying hens. You don't need a rooster. I mean, they do guard your hens, but it's just one more mouth to feed. But my hens really contribute to the money. I sell eggs. I have 6 families that I supply eggs to, and I sell my eggs. A lot of people are like, oh, I give my eggs to my neighbors. No, my farmer doesn't give me the feed, so no, I'm not giving away my eggs. So you really have got to watch out for your generosity, because your generosity is not going to pay the bills. You do want to be generous, you do want to be kind, but you also do want to pay the bills. Okay, now let's talk Matilda. Oh my gosh, I love my cow. For years, I had wanted a bottle-fed baby. I love a Jersey's head, but I like something pretty and colorful. If you look around my property, you won't see anything boring looking. I like spots and color and cute and pretty. I don't like to feed ugly, and I don't like to feed unfriendly. That's just who I am, sorry. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. But, so Matilda is a Jersey milking shorthorn cross. Here's some pictures of her. And she is absolutely darling. But I did get her with the intention of her being a homestead animal, in that she will be a milk cow. However, to get the milk from her, you have to obviously breed them, because the milk comes from the fact that they've had a baby. But I am going to breed her to a beef cow so that I can eat her offspring and I can milk her at the same time. Now, I will be honest with you, I don't drink dairy milk. Ever, ever, ever. The thought of it grosses me out. I envision pulling a baby calf off of a dirty, hairy nipple and drinking. Ugh. I don't know why, but cow's milk, the thought of it turns my stomach. However, everything is better with butter. I love butter, and I like a cheddar cheese or a Parmesan cheese. So I like cheese all right, but I love butter. So I will be able to sell some of the meat from her offspring, because I wouldn't eat a whole cow in a year. I will be able to sell some of the milk from her. And then if I make more butter than I can use, I can sell some home done butter. So she is going to be a homestead animal, but what most people would do, and I would strongly advise it, because I wanted a bottle fed baby. So she's 2 years before she gets bred. So she'll be a year old now. And so next year I'll be able to breed her, but that means the following year before she has a baby. Most people would go out and buy themselves, spend the money to buy themselves a milk cow now. So there you go on that one. Here's another thing when it comes to raising cattle for meat. You really got to do the math, because if you can find somebody to split a cow with, you would pay a whole lot less than raising the cow for meat and paying the butcher prices and all that. If you split a cow with somebody, you're just paying your half of the butcher fee. You didn't have to feed them. You didn't have to raise them for a couple years. You didn't have to do anything, because it depends on how much meat you'd actually eat. I wouldn't eat enough to raise beef cattle. Rabbits, on the other hand, I think I read it somewhere, and I don't know where it is. You can Google it if you want to, but something along the lines of a rabbit can produce like 381 pounds or something like that of meat a year, because a mom and a dad have babies like you would not believe. One of my does has anywhere from 12 to 14 babies, and she can do that every single month. I don't breed her every month. I let her have a litter every 6 weeks, but left to their own devices, they would have a litter every 30 days. She gets pregnant. She can conceive at the same time that she's giving birth, And if Rico is in the pen with her, that's exactly what they do. So rabbits produce so much that they can produce over 300 pounds of meat, one girl and one boy. And they're super cheap to raise. They're super easy. Babies are easy, all of that. A cow is a whole lot more expensive. And I'm not even sure how much meat you get from a cow, but you get more meat. It's easier and a whole lot less expensive to raise rabbit than it is something like cow or even pig or even chicken for that matter. The rabbits are the way to go. Off with all the animals, and I'm kind of thinking, oh, this is kind of like homesteading, but I felt like I don't have a green thumb. I don't have a garden. I don't make my own shampoo. I buy deodorant and I love nice perfume. So I thought I couldn't possibly be a homesteader, right? Well, then I went out and I did a thing. I bought seeds, and I have decided that I like being a homesteader. I like being self-sufficient. And my cats, they like the fact that I brought seeds because I had to go all around my kitchen floor to get the beet seeds today because my cats chewed the thing. But I got all the things to do all the stuff to make a garden. So now I'm going to do gardening. Here's a couple things. I don't know squat about gardening. So this is all an adventure for me. I have read the back of every single seed plant a million times. I have been YouTubing up the yin yang, trying to figure out how I'm gonna set it up, what I'm gonna do. I have metal stock tanks because my animals, a lot of them drink out of stock tanks. So I've got a lot of leaky stock tanks. So all of my plant beds will be raised. The biggest thing that I have noticed when I'm doing research for gardening that is said over and over again, and I was almost guilty of it. I went to the store and I see all of these little envelopes and I'm like, ooh, I need that. Ooh, I need that. Ooh, I need that. And I'm thinking, I've never bought that at a grocery store ever in my life. Ever. I'll be honest with you. I'm not too sure that I'm going to eat radishes. I only buy them once in a blue moon. But these radishes are long and skinny. Because, see, this is the fun thing about gardening. Like, I honestly first thought about gardening for my rabbits because they like the greens. But their favorite is kale. So I bought kale, and I was going to buy regular kale just for the rabbits. And then I thought, wait a minute, this kale, if you buy your own seeds, you get cooler stuff. So this is dwarf blue curled vates something. But when you read the back, this is soft, because that's what I don't like about kale is it's like hard kale-y. This is softer, more like a lettuce texture. But I actually was going to start the garden for the rabbits because they love all the greens. In fact, the beets that the cats attacked are a tall topped beet, not because I'm going to eat the beet tops, which a lot of people do in salads and stuff, but the taller the top, my rabbits will love them. So as far as a garden, get only the things that you will eat and don't overwhelm yourself. That's what I keep telling myself. That's the only advice I can give because I have not started gardening yet, but I do have all the stuff and things. There isn't any information you can't find on YouTube about gardening. I'm telling you, you can just Google it. Like I even this morning had to Google when the cats attacked this. I put the seeds in a Ziploc bag. And then I thought, wait a minute, there's got to be a reason that the seeds come in a paper envelope. So I Googled, can you store seeds in plastic? Google says, wrong answer. Do not put seeds in an airtight or plastic container. So I put them in the envelope and I stapled this on there so I knew what it was. So thank you, kitty cats. I learned something new because of the cats. And if you have any gardening tips for me, please put them in the comments. I hope that this was helpful as far as giving you some ideas for what you want to do homestead-wise. Like I said, I'm more on the animal end of things at this point. I really don't have a lot of advice about a garden other than just do it. If you think you want to be more self-sufficient and homestead, just do it. If I can do it as an unmarried woman, living on my own, supporting myself, and then I just took on having, I think, like 60 extra animals to feed, you can do it. You are stronger and more capable than you ever imagined. Just always make sure every step of the way you're figuring out how to generate revenue too. You don't just want to feed yourself. You want to be able to feed your animals. You want to be able to feed loved ones. You want to be able to feed the power. You want to be able to get a phone. You want to be able to afford stuff. So sometimes all people do is talk to you about saving money, saving money, saving money. Well, let me tell you, I like spending money. I like spending money. So in order to spend money, I have to earn money. There's nobody earning money for me. Nobody gives me money. I don't get any handouts. I have to earn it. And so do you. So if you have to ask somebody what you can spend because you're not making your own money, this is basically a conversation to women. This is woman to woman conversation here. If you are having to ask somebody what you can spend money on and how you can do it, then get yourself more self-sufficient. That's what homesteading is. It doesn't necessarily have to do with just chickens and pigs and rabbits and gardens and all that. Figure out a way to make money. Like I said, what gives me the ability to do this is I sell nutritional supplements. That is my main stream of income, and I'm paid every week. I can help customers feel better, look better, and everything over the phone and on my computer. So I do have a revenue income stream, and I still make good money off of everything on my homestead. If it isn't going to make me money, then I don't need to feed it. Although the argument would be the dogs, the cats, and the horses. They don't make me money, and I will feed them forever and ever and ever. So with that, happy homesteading. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay surrounded by loved ones, and most of all, stay grateful for all of your blessings. Thank you so much.